back. It's a brand new season of CGL.
This is just an absolute treat. These players are so damn good.
The talent on these teams is undeniable. Everybody on every team right now is making plays.
It's going to be an exciting start to the season, and it'll just get better from here on out.
We're about to step to a whole new era of Overwatch esports. So much exciting action is happening here on CGL that you do not want to miss.
Look who's starting it all off. It's Raven. No one necessarily figure out what is the right way to go just yet.
What a nice roll through from Peyton. It's just going to solidify everything for Mythos.
Does come back, and Arsario gets the mech, but I don't need a mech. I'll kill 4 anyway.
This is just a highlight reel for Arsario right now.
They're making a statement in the EU Masters here.
This patch is still incredibly fresh. There's so much to learn, so much to change about the way we play the game.
NKC, but the shatter is colossal.
Let's get it going.
Trades keep coming through. Laura, is he going to be able to find these shots true?
Inu on the overclock with 2.
Here comes an Anvil and immediately goes back like fine skills, slicing and dicing their way through 2, 3, so back and forth.
Hello everyone, hope your week is going absolutely wonderfully, and what better way to celebrate the Wednesday than with some CGL. I am Egda, joined by Nya today. VA Cat Plague versus the Coconuts of Victory. 2 teams looking to make a mark here in the European Masters division. How are we feeling about this matchup?
Pretty good. You know, it's week 7. We got, basically a couple more weeks until the playoffs, right? So I bet both of the teams are looking for a great victory here, especially the Coconuts of Victory. It's up in their name, right?
I think to name yourself after victory and then to not get all the victories, you would have a bit of a problem. Now, looking at both of these teams, it does seem that VA Cat Plague have a little bit of an advantage. 5-1 so far. Throughout their run this season versus Coconuts Victory, who are 4-2. Again, very respectable score for reference, but also for reference, those numbers don't lie, and VA Cat Plague, their only loss have come against a 5-map banger against the Dream Eaters, who seem to be a pretty dominant team. Coconuts Victory did not fare particularly well against the Dream Eaters, got 3-0'd, pretty brutal fashion. So you definitely put the edge on paper here to Cat Plague, but I would be more than glad to be proven wrong.
Yeah, and I also like the map differential here. VA Cat Plague coming in very much strong over the Coconuts of Victory. But something to say is VA Cat Plague has just a tad bit more than this Coconuts of Victory side. We got to see Cat Plague obviously strive up in that mid-season more than Coconuts. So expecting a victory here from VA Cat Plague just with their performance so far. But I wouldn't be surprised if we were able to get to see Coconuts of Victory just trying to, force a win here to possibly have a upset happen. That would definitely be exciting. But I'm definitely looking forward to it. I'm definitely interested.
Yeah, we do have our schedule as well. We have VA Cat Plague versus Coconuts Victory today, and then in just a couple of hours' time, we're going to be seeing some more European teams, Silvok Lovers versus the EIG Reapers. So we have a whole lot of action for you today. Make sure to not go anywhere after this stream is done, because we're going to have more for you, because that's what we're all about, right? We're about delivering content. We're about, giving the people what they want, which is some damn good Overwatch, which I think we are going to see today. Of these players, is there anyone who you recognize? Anyone that sticks out to you, possibly?
Taking a look at VA Cat Plague, probably their DPS line. I would probably expect a lot of macro from them, but Coconuts of Victory, not too much up on the side of, interest for me at least. But I wish I studied of Coconuts of Victory, but I at least know VA Cat Plague here, so maybe Coconuts of Victory can give me some intel here with this matchup.
Yeah, that, and I mean, I have a little bit of intel. I am familiar with Bipolar Bear, both a bipolar bear and also a bipolar bear, so it works both ways.
Nice.
Pretty genius in that regard. And Tartip Peninsula is going to be our first map going over to Control first of all. I expect to see some brawlier styles coming out, of course, waiting for the bans from both of these teams as well. They are going to be considering it briefly, what they will be going with. Again, with exactly what these teams play, with the fact that bans can come out, flexibility is everything. All the maps have been, well, no, not all, not all the maps have been picked out, but Antarctic Peninsula are definitely going to be where we go, at least initially.
Yeah, as you said, Antarctic Peninsula definitely requires a lot of brawl. That's probably something that we're going to be able to see here today, at least, to be in between these two teams. One's going to be a little tad bit stronger up on it, I bet. But I wouldn't be surprised if these teams were to run out up on something that they're comfortable with to possibly, flex on the other side. But yeah, Antarctic Peninsula, you got 3 sectors there. You got multiple variety, as you basically said, but I wouldn't be surprised if they were to go like aggressive with like a quick dive or like a rush to, get up into that front line. But I do expect the brawl.
Yeah, the teams are taking quite a while to decipher their bans. Like, I mean, there's a lot to it. Of course, bans have been introduced recently, following from the LCS format, introducing hero bans and Face It as well. Just kind of taking some inspiration from there. It can be kind of tactical. Generally, when you have a strong meta composition, you have the fact that there are obviously teams that can play it better and teams that can't play it better. Now, not only are you able to, ban out the requisite heroes when necessary, but remember, it's not necessarily just one character that makes a meta. Take, the Malga meta that we saw in Stockholm. Obviously, okay, if you were to able to ban a Malga, okay, you can't play Malcolm. But also, if you were to ban a Juno, you'd probably struggle as well. And if you ban a Reaper, it could get even trickier as well.
Coconuts Victory
with their first ban here. Interested to see what it's going to be here. Graphic I've not actually seen before. Look at this production value. How about that?
Yeah, very, very cool stuff, we get to see them, pick the van here. But, as you said, maybe taking something very important out of a composition is going to change the whole entire game for one of these teams. It just depends upon what they're thinking on the side of composition. But I do feel like if you are Coconuts of Victory, maybe target a support here. I know main supports like to struggle sometimes if they get focused a tad bit too much, but as well as tank, right? Taking that priority out of the game is also a huge pick.
I've heard the main way to just fundamentally change the comp is get rid of a tank. With supports and DPS, there's always something that can be taken. Okay, Tracer going to be banned up from Coconuts of Victory, so you deny that flanker threat, but something that I've sort of said, that I was sort of saying, is that with DPS and support, or specifically DPS, there's always kind of an alternative pick. So say Tracer gets banned out, you can play a Sombra, or you can play a Genji, maybe even a Venture or a Reaper, if you want to be technical. The point is there are other flank characters that can do that effectively. If you ban out an Ashe, well, maybe you go Hanzo, or maybe Widow, Soldier, Sojourn, if the sightlines are fine for it. But if you ban out Wrecking Ball, well, I mean, that's so unique a style of composition in itself that you fundamentally have to change how you play the game. And if you're a team which relies on, say, a character like that, then you're going to struggle a bit. Similar situation with supports, even though obviously you have your main supports and flex support, it really does feel like every single support is so distinctly unique, with the exception of maybe Juno and Lucio being interchangeable. Generally, each support does something quite drastically different, and it is Orisa banned out for VA Cat Plague and Tracer banned for Coconuts of Victory. We can show you the lineups briefly of the teams before we go into this. And you were talking about the DPS lineups. Going to be looking at Spacey and Blue to take the boots here, put them in, maybe crack these Coconuts open just a little bit. Flexibility in the roster going to be everything here, and they've definitely proven it this season. But if there's someone with, the ability to shoot out the target that's on the Cat Plague's backs, it might be the Coconuts of Victory.
Yeah, Coconuts of Victory. They definitely need a win over here if you are them, of course. But let's take a look at that DPS line. We obviously have It's Tree. That's probably going to be a player to definitely watch out for. But as well, up on the side of, I believe that is Beaky. But up on tank, right? So we got Bipolar Bear. You know, that's somebody that you know, of course. I wouldn't be surprised if they were to expect us with some impressive gameplay here, but as well, supports. You got Feline and the best Jinx. So let's see if the Coconuts Victory can strive for the victory here, especially for their, you know, team branding.
Yeah, that branding. Remember, that's absolutely everything. No one cares about your actual wins and losses, but if people remember you, then you know what, it's been worth it regardless. Going to Antarctic Peninsula to open things up. It's going to be a grand old series for you today, ladies and gentlemen. So I hope that you guys enjoy.
Yeah, so here we go. I'm really wondering what they're gonna run out up on here, but you know, as we did say, Antarctic Peninsula, this definitely strives for, you know, what could be dive or brawl in between both the teams here. But look at that wonderful view of the Aurora. I mean, that's always something that I've wanted to see up in the real world, but it's every time I get a chance, it's always cloudy where I am, so I just can't get to see it. But one of these days.
Are you in Denmark or something? Are you
No,
in
no.
Antarctica?
I mean, I wish.
I didn't know. I
'Cause
didn't
look,
know that Antarctica. I didn't know that Antarctic Peninsula sublevel was just your house. I wasn't familiar with the game. You see.
Well, especially with like space and stuff, right? You're getting to see like the solar storms produce more like the auroras, which range in between all different countries. So you got multiple people looking at it at once, but it also just depends upon the weather. So via Cat Plague, they're going to be rolling out up on a hazard composition. So expect Inferno to be aggressive into Bipolar Bear. You know, something to say about Bipolar Bear is they are running up onto a Ramatra comp. So look to see more slows coming out of those Coconuts of Victory to capitalize up on the backline or DPS line of VA Cat Plague.
Junkrat is a surprising option here. Of course, you're going to be able to control the high ground at least a little bit easier because you can just kind of spam down into that stairwell, but the point itself is super open. That's where something like a Genji or a Sojourn is going to prove to be much more successful. VA Capblade going to put themselves on the point. Coconut's Victory think, no, we're going to put ourselves on the high ground instead. So Coconut's willing to give the cap away, but they need to find some kind of mark, some kind of opportunity in the process.
Yeah, and if you're Coconuts of Victory, you're kind of getting a tad bit low here, but Bipolar Bear able to get a very aggressive.
No! I was gonna say you were looking like a prime 12-year-old boxer right there, not hitting a thing with your fist. But you get the kill onto the Genji eventually, right? And that's where the time pays off here. Diki on the Sojourn is going to have an easy time farming these rails off of the hazard, but maybe not as much of an easy time hitting them when you get jumped on. That being said, Bipolar Bears come back onto the point to deal with the enemy tank threat. Spadesy's on the high ground here. And want to see if you can, you know, land the shots. This Lucio's proving to be very elusive. This backline doing a particularly good job of staying alive, which is exactly what you want them to do, to be honest. You don't need a ton more than that. Spacey comes through, actually stops the momentum from Coconuts of Victory. They were able to cap the point, get it up to 24%. The war is won in the favor of the Cat Plague.
Yeah, so Cat Plague, you know, scratching their way back here. Meow's obviously going to have his Kitsune Rush. Same with Kanios. They're also going to have this beats ready to go, so expect both supports. But, you know, Inferno as well, they're going to have their Hazard Ultimate. So if you are Inferno here, maybe just pressure more on the side of Coconuts to force out those supports.
Yeah, Bipolar just runs it onto the high ground, but someone got caught out in the back. It was Tree who got slashed out by Inferno. Now Bipolar is enabled with their own Kitsune Rush, but VA Catplay just put their own back. Sound barrier for Coconuts of Victory is now, and a railgun comes through from Spacey in the midst of the entire overclock. Big ult investment from both of these teams, but it was the combination of the downpour and the sound barrier that proved efficient for Catplay.
Yeah, Inferno, you know, capitalizing up on the picks as we just got to see. Both support ultimates getting used there from both of the sides. But yeah, Coconuts of Victory, now they're trying to look for Tree's Riptire, right? That's something that needs to be very important here. But the Blade could just be even more.
I was gonna say, why would you wait for the Riptide to come through and demolish your entire team when you could just go first with the blade, take Diki and Bailey out of the fight immediately? Touch is gonna come through. It's gonna be a fleeting thing here, and yeah, it's pretty gets blown up on engage. Not the kind of blowing up you generally want to do on Junkrat, but you're gonna have to tell for something, I suppose. Catplay looking pretty dominant on this first point.
Yeah, Catplague showing what they are pretty dominantly as the number 2 up in their division. But yeah, let's take a look at this replay. Obviously, we got to see so much from Inferno here. A lot of aggression from the Lucio players too, right? But something that's impressive is if these main supports aren't getting as focused enough, they're able to rotate with their tank. So that's where more of the action comes out and all that communication. But the plays from the DPS line, like Blue did an early ultimate against that tire, I think that was, you know, immaculate. That was definitely fantastic. But yeah, Tree, if you are Coconuts of Victory here, I would probably just say pop some more ultimates a tad bit quicker.
You'd think that Bipolar Bear would be happy about going to, you know, a place as cold as this, being Polar Bear and all, but I think saw the Penguins and just kind of immediately call the pause. I didn't know that there was such a big fight between, you know, who do you think the king of the Arctic is? Is it the Penguin or the Polar Bear?
I want to say probably the Penguins, because you get to see so much up in the Arctic. Like there's obviously the king penguins, which just strive with their families, but as well, like there's so much variety of penguins. But polar bears, though, you look at the aggression, I feel like a polar bear could just snatch a penguin and just run off with it. So to say, is the polar bear better? Maybe. It just depends if the penguin goes up into the water.
I was going to say, do you seriously think that like a polar bear doesn't beat a penguin in a fight? It seems kind of one-sided. I can't imagine getting slapped by like the penguin flippers is particularly nice, but you know, like, would you rather get slapped or get eaten alive? It's a pretty clear decision to me.
Who's quicker though? The penguin, right? The penguin can slide up on the ice.
Well, yes, but like that's if it's like icy. If it's like snowy and it's like still kind of dry, I feel like a polar bear is faster. Yeah. 4 legs are more than 2, unfortunately.
The penguin would just try and waddle away as much as possible.
Yeah,
but, yeah, I totally understand.
It reminds me of that duck. He kept coming up to my lemonade stand and asking for grapes. Man. It was super obnoxious. But anyway, these penguins gonna be enjoying the action for the time being here. Going to be watching things, putting a frosty performance in between Catplague and the Coconuts of Victory.
Yeah, so the Catplague still running out up on the same composition, but look at that aggression here from Coconuts of Victory. They got to be careful, though. Bipolar Bear is dead.
And so Zen says, confidence is a flimsy shield. You do attempt, you respect, apologies, the attempt at aggression from the Coconuts of Victory, but it really does just blow up in their face, and they get routed back to the spawn room.
Yeah, the aggro play from the Catplague is showing here up in these early stages of the second sector of Antarctic, but Coconuts of Victory, maybe if they could try and rotate up on like an off angle here with their Sojourn, also have their main support with, it might just coordinate a better adjustment for them. It just depends upon what they feel is best.
Yeah, now it's going to be a co-side rotation here. Try and avoid those Lucio boots where you can, and try and avoid Blue on the angle as well. You can see kind of the weakness of this Ram on occasion, as Blue ends up getting a bit too big for their britches, taken down there, but you're a distraction at the end of the day. People think it's the tank's job to make space, but, you know, a DPS can do that up there with the best of them as well. Everyone has to turn to look at the Genji, and they're not looking at the Hazard.
Yeah, very, very much true. VA Catplague really showing here still. Inferno sitting at a nice 67 up on that Hazard, but the aggression from Blue is always there up in the scenario fight, so I do expect Blue to get more up into this, but as well, you could just be seeing a Speed Blade happen here very, very shortly from this Catplague to take even more aggression up on the side of Coconuts.
Yeah, that's the problem with the swap from Tree. It's a good swap by all means, but ults can generally beat out the worst character for quite a long time. And you're going to have not just a Blade, but a Kitsune Rush as well. to help that. You're going to be nowhere close to a beat or a Kitsu rush of your own for the Coconuts of Victory. I mean, what are your options? Just disengage, but I don't think you have that luxury. What a
Ooh, that's
shot was
unfortunate.
that? Blue gets taken out of the Skybox, but again, the rest of Cat Plague, they know how to time the aggression, they know how to sync it up, and it means that the Coconuts of Victory are going to struggle once more.
Yeah, and as we get to see a late
late
swap coming up in
stagger.
here.
Late stagger comes through, and it's going to be a bit of desperation from the Coconuts of Victory. Polar Bear back over to the Wrecking Ball, able to get a touch-up on the point, but you're going to be touching it with none of the support of the rest of your team. It's going to be sent back to the spawn room via Cat Plague, proving why they were the favourites coming into this one.
Yeah, Cat Plague really showing why they are the number 2 over the number 6. But yeah, very, very impressive stuff from the side of Cat Plague. The placement and playstyle from this Inferno side of the VA Cat Plague has been absolutely insane. It's always engage after engage, and even though if somebody does die with an ultimate, like how we got to see Blue go up in, they were still finding a lot of picks. Like, VA Cat Plague, their communication's always there, but if you're Coconuts of Victory, I feel like you are trying to strive for the best here. You're trying to get something out of these situations, but you just need to be a tad bit more aware of the scenarios going up into this VA Cat Plague squad. Like, yeah, maybe they could adjust with it this next map, especially with the hero bends and such.
Yeah, I wish that I were able to, call out maybe... I wish I were able to call out a single player of Cat Plague that really popped off or really did well, but I think everyone no one really came out looking better than anyone else. They all came out looking pretty bloody good at the end of the day. So it means that their team play is absolutely on point. These teams definitely showing why Cat Plague are the favourites for the time being. We do know what our next map is going to be. It's going to be hybrid. It's not going to be King's Row for once. It's going to be Paraíso instead.
Oh, Paraíso. I mean, that's like Lucio hometown, but
That how you
I do
pronounce
expect
it?
dive compositions
How do you pronounce it?
to be popped.
Paraíso,
But
or...
yeah, I believe it's Paraíso.
There we
Something
are.
like that.
Yeah. I hope that any Portuguese people in the chat aren't calling for my head right now as the pastiest, whitest guy that you've seen appear on your screen. Just butchers the name of a Brazilian city, but you know what? Happens to the best of us. Bans are going to come out again. Coconuts have 45 seconds to decide who they're going to ban out. Remember that Orisa and Tracer are no longer viable picks. I don't think the Brawl is a style that works as well on this map. The high grounds are just too oppressive. There is cover in such a way that you can try and just force the issue with the cart, but the high grounds aren't just looking above you and at you, but they're also generally raining down from the sides of you and behind you too. You turn that second corner, and then a Sojourn can just kind of stand there and be just fine. So something like I was going to say something like a Diva, but you're actually going to ban that out. This implies to me either the Coconuts are just really wanting to play a Winston or something like that, or they just kind of want to force the issue with a non-dive pick.
I don't know. I mean, I do like the choice here of Diva, but as well, it was probably decisive in between a Hazard or a Diva. I know Hazard with the VA Cat Plague, that could be chosen for a dive composition. It just depends upon how quick they want to be. But I do like the choice here of the Coconuts. But now, if you're VA Cat Plague, you can go in much further here with a ban, and it's going to be Sojourn. So this takes out a tad bit more of the, angles. But yeah, nothing too much to worry here. Probably still expect poke out of both of these teams, especially up on that defense.
Yeah, there's no reason that you wouldn't have some kind of ranged option. Sojourn and Genji are kind of the strongest two DPS right now, at least in my opinion, and seems to be reflected at the highest levels of play. Losing Sojourn realistically means that you're just going to see an Ashe. Because they do the same jobs just a bit differently. They give mid-range. They give consistent mid-range damage options with a pretty good ultimate and some form of mobility to get away. Now, of course, Sojourn has the far superior mobility with the slide. Arguably the better perks, I would say. I know that's a pretty small point, but I mean, come on, 150 overclock rails. Who thought that was a good idea? And Ashe is... I mean, I play a lot of Ashe. I can say, at least personally, her major perks are, like, seriously underwhelming. You either, like... You can hit 2 shots on one person to deal an extra 25 damage. And it's like, thanks for the 25 damage. I guess cool. Or you can have, like, a bigger dynamite explosion when you shoot it. And it's like, cool, but again, like, you aren't exactly missing your dynamite if you've played Ashe for long enough. So I do foresee that that'll be the style that comes out here. If not, it'll be kind of embarrassing that I've just yapped about Ashe for the past 2 minutes and she just doesn't get played. I like Ashe. I play a lot of Ashe. I'm good at Ashe. What can I say?
Yeah, Ashe is great, you know, especially with the, you know, poke up in that. And yeah, hey, as you said, right, Ashe is going to be chosen here from both of the teams. So great choices from both here. VA Cat Plague, though, probably going to take this one a tad bit quicker, but I'm a little worried about their backline. Meow is going to be up on the Zen. Now, if you're Meow, you're going to have to be communicating these discords 24/7, right? And your positioning needs to be spot on. Because if you get dove by Bipolar Bear, which is playing the Winston, stuff's going to not go such your way. But, yeah, this is definitely going to be interesting. But the discords can take out the Winston. I did just think about that. So this might actually be a good choice.
It's about playing distance and basically preempting the dive, right? There is no reason for Kedios and Meow to play like anywhere near their team. I want them at the very back of the point in Narnia. I don't want them going anywhere near this main section of the fight. You know, your Sigma's the one that can bend and never break. Your Ana isn't able to do so. That being said, you have to peak your supports at some point, Inferno, getting very low, conceding quite a lot of space over to the Coconuts of Victory for now.
So as we get to see, the Ashe up on the side of Coconuts getting a tad bit low there, does need heals, but look at the play from Blue here to just take looks at that Ashe player. That's very good, I'd probably say, and the pressure, if that keeps up, you're going to get the CVA Cat Plague up in these best of scenarios.
You can see how much of a pain this Tracer's being! There's a bigger pain for that Tracer to contend with, I guess. I was going to say it's a big distraction for the Coconuts of Victory, but it's a distraction that can clearly be dealt with quite easily. That being said, you're still losing people on the point, and on this point, as opposed to a lot of other hybrids, the spawns are better for the defenders 90% of the time, so Coconuts of Victory going to have to reset.
Yeah, so if you're VA Cat Plague here, you're going to be looking to possibly be popping Inferno's ultimate here very, very shortly. But as well, if you are Coconuts of Victory, not too much up on the ultimate economy just yet, but a wonderful rock placement from Inferno.
Yeah, actually just got rocked out of the lobby. That's crazy work. And Spacey's going to follow it up with a nice headshot onto Jinx as well. And giving them lessons in geology, I guess.
Yeah, and I'm really wondering if Inferno will just pop this, you know, Flux to be aggressive, or even wait to force out some ultimates of Coconuts of Victory, because still Coconuts of Victory trying to charge up that ultimate economy as we get to see, but I wouldn't be too surprised if Inferno goes quick.
Yeah, this time the rock is just going to be denting the side of the building. Bipolar Bear, remember, Coconuts Victory, they have to afford as a full team unit. That being said, they really seem to have caught the Sigma out, but the Flux is good enough, and the healing is even better. The heal was there to keep the Sigma alive in a situation where Sigma really shouldn't have been there, but it works anyway.
Yeah, and Inferno was cornered there, so it was likely Inferno was going to die, but I definitely give credit to those supports keeping Inferno up. You also have Nano, right? Same with this Pulse Bomb, so 2 up on the line of VA Cat Plague, but Coconuts of Victory, maybe this is your chance to shoot your way up into the VA Cat Plague. What a stick!
Yeah, I mean, sitting ducks right there for Blue to just stick a Pulse Bomb onto, get him eliminated from the game quick and smart. And again, it's going to be a small pick, but one that's going to delay even more. And then you're able to do more you don't get the sync with the respawns because Jinx has just died. So this has just been one drawn-out stagger for the past 20-30 seconds.
Yeah, Blue is cooking up on that Tracer as far as it is, but VA Cat Plague still looking very good with their ultimate economy. Coconuts of Victory, they have so much against this VA Cat Plague side, which they could use, so I do expect Coconuts to pop for Sustain or even this aggression.
Yeah, you have the Nano Blade and you have the pick. This is, I mean, twice now that Beaky has been able to get the better of that Tracer. You have the Nano Blade out. They tried to Nano Spazy to have them live in the chaos, but maybe a little bit of a optimistic use of the ultimate. Coconut's Victory finally going to be trying to push onto this point, but losing their tank player with all the respawns coming for Cat Plague means there's a chance that they can just give a couple of ticks here. Maybe try and hold this on first.
Oh, and as we get to see, Inferno popping the Flux could be big. But Sustain?
Yeah, and now Bob's on the point as well. Actually comes out for BA Cat Plague as well. Not completely over just yet, but the bigger Bob on the side of Beaky today.
Oh.
Wait a minute! Oh,
wait,
that's
they could've had
heartbreaking. I mean, yeah, you get a couple of picks, but it's just slightly too little and slightly too late.
Yeah, so very nice plays here from Coconuts of Victory. Now they are, in strive for this card progress, but Coconuts of Victory, you're looking at a Primal at the moment against VA Cat Plague, which only has Consuming Rush, and Blue also coming up on this Pulse Bomb, so do expect 2 up on the side of VA. Though, I will say, Blue has been putting up such great aggro aggression.
We're gonna talk about that one, Beaky? Guess not.
Classic moment.
Yeah, you're gonna have to retreat on account of that back here. Hopefully there's some kind of magical action replay we can get of a play we weren't even looking at. I would find that entertaining. Now the rest of the Coconuts Victory are corralled into this choke point, and they are sent all the way back home.
Yeah, and this is really fantastic from the side of VA Cat Plague to, force themselves into this line of Coconuts of Victory. They are definitely reading these mistakes from Coconuts. I feel like if you're VA, you know the scenarios of Coconuts always, and it's been showing very, very much so. But Coconuts of Victory still only with Bipolar Bears, Primal Rage. It's Tree trying to get this one of Blade, possibly here with the Nano. That could be huge if they could capitalize.
They don't know! Now they do, and Blue, this time the Pulse Bomb is going to be looking like Shaq from the free throw line. Not particularly accurate, but you don't even need the Pulse Bomb, and Bipolar Bear clearly doesn't need to know what gravity is, velocity even, as it just gets halted by Inferno's rock there. They'll just neatly float away to the other little platform to heal back for the rest of the team whenever possible. Bipolar Bear, you do have the Primal, so you're going to continue to go in, able to get it off. You're able to apply the pressure onto the backline, or is this going to be a bit of a white boy Primal? I think it is going to, unfortunately. You still have a Nano and a Blade here for the Coconuts of Victory, however. That's always a combo that can get you some purchase. Oh, and you also have BT on the high ground. You don't even need... Who needs a Blade when you have bullets? Well, apparently you do need the Blade anyway. It's going to get a late stagger, but not a lot else.
Now I'm wondering, maybe this was a late choice of events here for Coconuts of Victory because they just used basically all of their ultimates. Now you're looking at VA Cat Plague coming back up into this one with both supports and a Bob. So I do expect VA Cat Plague to take this one over Coconuts.
And you can deflect a black hole, but not a rock, ladies and gentlemen. Do remember that, because it seems like its Tree has been on the receiving end of that rock a couple of times there, and it is the double support ultimates that are going to stabilize the members of the Cat Plague here. And what is scarier? If you're a cowgirl from, like, the 1950s or 60s, and then some Dutch guy just floats at you while chucking gravity at you, that's pretty scary. Pretty scary.
Yeah, it is definitely scary. Seeing what Inferno has been cooking up, he's absolutely been up on fire today for the VA Cat Plague. It's very impressive. Even up in that scenario of the replay, right? Inferno was able to get out. The support's definitely cured. But this is such great placement from all the players of VA Cat Plague. You get to see VA Cat Plague more in the scenarios of communication overall against Coconuts of Victory. So Coconuts of Victory, if you're heading up into this next one, you're going to have to work your best up on this defense, and you're going to have to communicate everything, because if you don't, it's going to be more likely VA Cat Plague is going to take this one and have them set for a match point.
I don't call that Sigma the Flying Dutchman for nothing, but you could see how well Catplague were poking out Coconuts of Victory. Oftentimes, against a dive comp, it's not necessarily about just using your resources to absorb the dive when it comes in, because you're going to be overwhelmed. The power spike of the dive when it actually comes in, provided that it's properly synced up, everyone's going for different angles, it's too much, right? Even your Suzus, your lamps aren't going to get you to live through it. But what if you get to burn those resources before the jump comes in? And you could see it from Polar Bear's POV. Every time you try and peek out, you just get sent all the way back. And now we have a bit of a dive mirror. Backlines are different here, so you're playing for range and damage for Coconut's Victory. Makes sense on the defensive side.
Well, I will say Coconuts of Victory kind of running the same thing that VA Catplague did up on their defense, so maybe this is an upstep for Coconuts of Victory here, but I love the way that this backline is positioning. This is definitely going to get value.
You have to be careful again, if you're the Zen, to not take too much damage before the fight has even begun, because you know that you will just be taken out, and there, the Zen is a sitting duck, definitely a glass cannon of a character. Late pick means that there's a potential for recontest if you're able to get out for the Coconuts of Victory, but Bipolar Bear was in the backline trying to secure kills onto the members of VA Catplague and going to struggle to get back in.
Yeah, and very good aggression here from VA Catplague, pushing this Coconuts of Victory back here, and if you're the Victory, you might not be able to touch this one, as we get to see Inferno pushing them back even more, and so much time up on the clock here for this S-curve of Catplague. So I do expect the aggression to still be there, but Coconuts of Victory in a tough spot against this VA Catplague side.
Yeah, it's looking a little schmixed right now. Coconuts of Victory have been struggling 5 minutes on the attack of VA Catplague versus like the 2.5 that Coconuts of Victory had. A lot of time to work with, and time is your best friend, the biggest tool in Overwatch. Provided you can keep these sightlines good for BP, then it's not going to be a problem to poke out any of these threats. That being said, we do trade the Zen and the Kiriko here. Sorry, not the Zen. There's no Zen in the game anymore. What am I talking about? The Kiriko and the Tracer there, but eventually Catplague were able to get the better of these picks. A couple of late staggers from Coconuts of Victory, just going to be consolation prizes.
Yeah, and something to talk about here is this next upcoming fight from both of the teams. You obviously get to see VA Catplague and Coconuts of Victory with a ultimate up on board, too, matter of fact, from both. But it's very likely that both of these teams are going to ult dump here. I do expect Coconuts of Victory to use basically everything if they want to have a chance at this fight.
Yeah, Polar Bear goes in, charges up to that Primal, so you can continue to maintain this aggression, and you are going to do it. This time the Primal is looking a little bit better, a little less white, but Inferno on the other side could be bouncing back with one of their own. The support pick is generally going to be better than a DPS pick, however. Inferno can get both, but so can Bipolar Bear. Right now, it's just these Winstons going 8 mode on each other's backlines for the time being. Inferno eventually forced back. Optimistic stick there from his Tree. That's all I can say.
Yeah, so Tree there with the pulse, not getting much, but very, smart choices there, almost getting that elimination. But Coconuts of Victory, they do have this Ashe ultimate here, so do expect that placed. VA Catplague, though, you're looking at a 3 to 4 over that ult. So VA Catplague, in the scenarios of ult winning here, it's a very good 80-some%.
And you launched your soldier in, that's going to be the Winston spearheading the charge here, but you only get the one, and that's BP. And meantime, Coconut's Victory, they're adjusting their style, they're just hard trading backlines, and it seems to be working out for them.
Yeah, and this is something that we definitely want to get to see here from Coconuts of Victory. They do obviously need to switch up something here with their positioning. It wasn't the best up on their defense, as we got to see the engage there up into VA Catplague, but with the way that they're adjusting, right, if they keep this adjustment, this could just be a shift up in the game here. But still, Coconuts of Victory here, not much up on that ultimate economy. You're able to get to see Tree here almost with a pulse, but that's basically it against VA Catplague, which has 3.
Yeah, you're really fighting from behind here. Not sure about the decision for VA Catplague to always come out from that, tiny room, just so you get poked out. But, it works to take Jinx and Fabian out of the game. Meow's feeling bloodthirsty right now. You can try and go skeet shooting not going to work out. But again, Coconut's Victory, this time their backline trades, when they don't have, you know, a Bob or a Nano to support them, it's going to be a struggle here. And Tree, I believe the Pulse Bomb got cancelled. I mean, you know, there's Ajax, there's Rajax. I can't think of anything catchy right now for the Pulse Bomb, but eventually it will come up.
A Pulse Jax?
Pulse Jax, it never really has the same ring to it, right? Like, Rajax just works. The same syllables. Ajax, obviously, is an Ajax. And I don't anyone else, like... I don't think any other character... I think if you cancel a role, you just say, like, you cancelled it, right?
True. Yeah, very, very true. Coconut's a Victory, though. They definitely tried their best here. I feel like it was definitely a better performance level, but at the same time, they did have some mistakes that VA Cat Plague definitely followed up on, as we got to see Blue was able to get so much beneficial picks there with the positioning up on Tracer, forcing that back line of the main support and the flex support to get staggered and positioned in some ways that support players that don't really want to be up in. But VA Cat Plague has been dominant so far. I do expect them to still be running with this series, even though they are up on the match point. It's hard for a number 6 seed to take control of a number 2, but as I said, an upset could happen. It just depends upon if the Coconuts of Victory adjust to that adjustment, as we got to see up on the late scheme of things of Periacio, right? They were trying to, you know, cook something up.
Yeah, it seems to be a pretty strange duality of existence for a backliner, because normally when your backline keeps dying, you think, oh, what guys, like, protect me, you know, come back, peel for your backline. And then you kind of realize it's like when it gets higher and higher level, you realize you're just kind of dead off cooldown. So you try and live for as long as possible. You don't get any help, but it's like, right, your frontline, go kill their backline, while their frontline tries to kill our backline, and our backline's just gonna try and heal each other for a little bit longer. And it tends to work out. We are going to be going to a quick intermission, see if the Coconuts of Victory, they did show some signs of life there, not going down without a fight. Let's see if they can start to bring this one back, mount a couple of decent maps or some good opposition against Cat Plague, or if Cat Plague are just going to end this in dominant fashion. We're going to go to a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back shortly. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Week 7 of the CGL EU Masters Tier. VA Cat Plague right now looking pretty bloody dominant. I can see why the Tracer was banned out on the first map, because Blue is certainly making the members of the Coconuts of Victory feel a certain way. Definitely cracking them up, as they would say. Pun, unfortunately, very much intended. We are going to be going over to our next map, New Queen Street here. I want the Coconuts of Victory to show me something. And it's not like they have nothing on their team. It's just that they were hitting and Cat Plague were just kind of standing there and then punching back, and Coconuts of Victory got knocked to the floor. It's kind of a tough one.
Hey, if I were to say, though, Coconuts of Victory, they have a great possibility and chance to do something here with this ban, right? So you could be looking at a damage, a support, or a tank, but the main looks of things, the tank has been, impressive from both of the sides, even the support line. So maybe, matter of fact, if they were able to take out a support here, I think Coconuts of Victory can get a win here if they focus a hero support.
Yeah, well, we do see the first ban coming through as the Hazard. It was played with great effect on the first map, but I think the issue is the VA Cat Plague tank player Inferno is kind of playing everything to a high standard. Got it's smoked on the Hazard round 1, then went over and then just Sigma'd all over the enemy team, and then even played some Winston just for the sake of it. So the tank bans aren't very effective when the enemy tank can just sort of play everything. But I see why the Hazard's going to be banned out anyway. VA Cat Plague on the other end, wonder what they're going to ban out. Probably something for the Tracer. Yeah, Torb. They want to play the Tracer because Blue is a nuts Tracer player. So they're going to ban the Torb. And yeah, that and so Blue gets to play more Tracer, and you're licking your lips and you're rubbing your hands together and you're thinking, I'm having a wonderful time of this.
Yeah, VA Cat Plague, I like the choice of Torbjorn here, even Coconuts of Victory, taking the Hazard out. Will it do much, though, up on the side of Coconuts of Victory? That ban could possibly turn some things around, but it just you know, it depends upon what that composition needs to bring up in. You do get to see new Queen Street, though. You know, rush compositions, brawl type compositions. Dive could also be played here, too. There's so much compositions that teams could run off on, but I do expect teams like these two to stick to something that was, you know, pretty important to them. So probably comfort comps in my eyes, but if you're the Coconuts of Victory, I would probably say stick to that, you know, comfort comp. You know, fit yourself in the best, you know, scenario, and you know, hope the best against the VA Cat play. Because still, it's a hard uphill battle against a number 2 seed. But hey, Coconuts of Victory, you're fighting out there, and I believe that Coconuts of Victory can do something here with this ban.
That they are. It's going to be. We tend to have a theme with our observers, which is that they like to just list off where every single animal in every single map is. So whenever you see the penguins or the pigeons or the crocodiles or the birds or even the bees, God forbid, then you know they're right there. What's this guy called? Think of a name real quick.
I think the pigeon's frozen. Pigeon can't move.
I want to call him Kevin.
Kevin the pigeon. Wait, I agree upon that. Kevin the pigeon.
That's aura.
Can we get
that's
like
aura right there.
Every
Kevin cam real quick.
Rolls up, we could just have like the Kevin cam. Yeah, this is fantastic. But you know, something to say about these two teams or what these compositions are going to be. Coconuts of Victory, they're going to be bringing out a rush type composition with the JQ, so expect a quick pace off of them. But as well, VA Cat Plague, they're going to be running out up on that ball. So same thing, but they are running a Mercy, so the backline might be a tad bit slow, but they are coordinating with the Pharaoh.
If you want the in-universe explanation as to what our observers are, just pretend they're the pigeons and they've got drones in their eyes, you know? So Coconuts of Victory are going to come in super aggressively here, but onto what target exactly? That's kind of the problem. Mara, and therefore the Mercy, have the ability to get away. Tracer's not going to get caught out, and Kiri can just teleport around the map, so you try and, you know, hard rush onto a target, there's no one there. That being said, both teams going to lose their Kiriko. This is where the Mercy from Cat Plague actually has maybe a little bit more purchase, because you have just more raw healing output when you're down your Kiri. You also get to enable Blue a little bit more. The Tracer being out of the fight means Coconut's Victory can finally cement a bit of a lead with the bot here.
Yeah, and something that I'm definitely going to be looking forward to is how Blue selects the perks. I know Farah has a perk where you can move with Barrage now, so that's going to be interesting to see. But the pressure here from Coconuts, I gotta say, they're still running with this.
Yeah, they're making life uncomfortable here for the Coconuts of Victory.
Nice.
Kedio's feeling even more uncomfortable. It's a struggle losing your Mercy. It means that, you know, by proxy, Blue's going to be more vulnerable. And where the hell did you go, Blue? Well, back to the spawn room, allegedly, as is Beaky, who wants to become intimately familiar with the, I don't know, Toronto railway system, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, sliding their way up onto the rails. But Coconuts of Victory, it's still sitting up in a good pace, the position here. But Lamb does come out for that aggro play if you are VA Cat Plague. I like the play, and VA Cat Plague has these ultimates too.
What? Where's your team? Where's your health? It's all gone. They took it away from you.
Oh, let's go.
I mean, Beaky does swag on Blue there, but it's just a little too late, unfortunately, and he's going to get rezzed up anyway, so no one even has to pretend that happened. And they got caught out there, way too aggressive. Team not on the same page.
Yeah, so VA Cat Plague with a pulse up onto the Kiriko. Very, very nice. Yeah, you know, something to say though, Coconuts of Victory, you've been up in these scenarios where you need to use these ults, and maybe this is the best.
Yeah, super aggressive use of the beat, and its tree was clip farming. Apparently, Blue's going to show you what a real clip farm looks like, with the barrage catching onto 2, catching onto 3 right there. Farah's going absolutely nuts right now. Tree tried to swat the fire out of the sky with the blade. I mean, it would look flashy, but, you know, it didn't work, my guy.
I mean, missiles absolutely everywhere. Coconuts of Victory getting shredded to pieces with that ultimate, but You're up in a tough situation here. You're looking at that meterage so much in favor of VA Plague, and they are working with a Valkyrie here. Like, Coconuts of Victory, they have a DPS ult.
Yeah, overclocked, and VP has a good high ground angle to look at it as well. Doesn't have as much health as you would like, and unfortunately the support from the rest team isn't there. Inferno actually comes back just to help protect the Mercy, ensure that res comes off. The 4v4 becomes a 5v4 very quickly, and you will take that numbers advantage, and you will milk it for all it's worth.
Yeah, so let's see if Coconuts of Victory can get back up into this one. Beaky does find the pick up onto the Tracer, but yeah, if you're VA Plague, I gotta say, you're kind of stopping this. And Blue's almost gonna have their ultimate, Inferno as well. You're gonna be able to see VA Plague back up in this ultimate economy.
I think that's just going to call it curtains there. Beaky taken out of the fight very unceremoniously before it's even began. You're coming up to your own ult to VA Plague. You're able to use the Kasuna Rush to buy yourself a teeny bit of distance and a teeny bit of time, but you're going to be sent all the way back to your spawn room. You're going to have a minefield and a barrage. This is more explosives than the IRA right now could even offer you. VA Plague going to secure their dominance, break things open here for the Coconuts of Victory. Clean 3-0 performance.
Blue is an absolute menace and a terrorizer up on that playing field. We got to see so much here from Blue. Obviously, those barrages landing up on those enemies, but yeah, Blue was always there up in those fight scenarios, even applying those pressure. But yeah, very, very good stuff from VA Plague today. Moving on forward, though, if you're Coconuts of Victory, you're going to try and hope to get a win next week, right? That's probably going to be your best scenario. But VA Plague in a very, very good state. If they were to lose next week, I wouldn't... would it be bad for them? Maybe? I'm not too sure.
I mean, it was a tough matchup for the Coconuts of Victory. Plague were the favourites coming into this. They did kind of prove it. They didn't look totally hopeless, the Coconuts of Victory, and against a team where you aren't really favoured and you just don't have the numbers that you should have, then it's the best that you can expect. But no, Blue is absolutely going to take my award for player of the match. Not just doing it on the Tracer, but doing it on the Pharah as well. You bring out Far Mercy. It's big 2025. What you doing, big lad? But you bring it out anyway, and it seems to work for you.
Yeah, so impressive up on the side of the ACAP Plague, up on the, tens of compositions that they can run. But look at that scoreline sheet of all the three maps, obviously 2-0, 2-1, and 1-0 throughout all the maps. Very, very dominant-wise up on the side of the ACAP Plague. But hey, Coconuts of Victory, that secondary, if they didn't really pull that much of mistakes with positioning wise, I feel like they could have taken a map here against Perrier. So what out? VA Plague. Sorry, my English isn't comprehensive. But
that's fine, dude.
Yeah, it seems to be, though, we do have series hero bands up next year, and something to say about these are, it was definitely important of the bands that were chosen here today from both of the teams.
I do admire your spirit. I don't think it mattered at the end of the day. I think the Cat Plague were just sort of better than Coconuts of Victory. They weren't just doing it on the dive, they were doing it on the Winston, they were doing it on the Sigma, they were doing
Mechanics.
it on the Hazard. Yeah, so, sometimes you just kind of get shot at a lot, and then you all fall over and die. You can only really go back to the drawing board for that one. Some teams, it's oh, that was close, but we played the wrong comp, or our bands were off. Sometimes your opponent hits more shots than you. Simple as that. At the end, as a wise man once said, at the end of the day, it is a shooter, and you shoot them in the face, and they die. And unfortunately, Cat Plague were really, really good at shooting the Coconuts of Victory in the face, or at least kind of the little eye holes that some coconuts have.
Oh yeah, like the little. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, why do they have those? It almost feels like they're designed to be bowling balls or something, but it's not a bowling ball; it's a coconut.
Hey, up in Hawaii, I think they actually do bowl with coconuts up on the beach. So
We need a Hawaii
it's actually
map
funny.
next. I mean, we have Samoa, which is similar. I mean, coconuts are abundant on that map, but we need Hawaii now.
All right, well, VA Cat Plague taking this one 3-0. Unfortunately, Coconut's a victory. Couldn't find a answer here. But we will actually be having an interview coming up, and maybe who's to say, maybe we're going to be talking to Blue, the dominant performer, but who knows? We'll be catching you guys very, very shortly.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. As promised, we do have an interview for you, and that is going to be from Spacey from VA Cat Plague. How are you feeling after that big win?
Pretty good, honestly. We played surprisingly well.
Well, that leads into my first question. What makes you say surprisingly? You did have a better record going into this one than your opponents. On paper, it seemed like you would win. So I guess what's so surprising about the performance you put up today?
We had very little practice on most of the maps, actually. So we kind of just raw balled it, figuring out what to play and such.
So you just kind of figured your comps out on the fly.
Yep.
There we are then.
Wow. Yeah, that's absolutely insane from you guys here today. I know, the DPS line was definitely cooking. Even your teammate Blue was there up in those beneficial moments. I mean, the Tracer was absolutely insane. What do you got to say for Blue's performance here tonight?
Honestly, very happy with how we performed on the Pharah. We've been putting a lot of practice, or at least he has been putting practice on the character. And you can see it very well, actually.
Yeah, I mean, dominant barrages, even dominant up on the Tracer too. But yeah, the positioning, focusing out those, main supports, putting up in so much pressure up in those scenarios, it takes your team even further up in the team fights to get the win. So definitely congratulations to Blue there. I definitely feel like Blue put in so much work. But yeah, this was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, but we can't discount. We cannot discount you, Spacey, either. It takes two to make a DPS lineup, and you were also doing a whole lot of work. I want to ask you about your bans quickly. So teams have kind of different attitudes with how they approach them. I have a friend who plays for a top uni team. He really likes to investigate the other team and like plan out the bans in advance, like as much as
Mhm.
possible. Now, your bans were Orisa, Sojourn, and Torb. Was there any kind of thought about that, or are you just thinking we're kind of just cooking them? We'll just ban whatever.
We are banning. Usually, the Sojourn ban is usually compared to like, because I like playing other hit scans, but Sojourn's just the better one of all of them.
Yes.
And Orisa kind of stops hazard comp, and Torbjorn kind of just stops the ball comp with Trace at least.
Mhm.
So basically, just to favor our comps mostly.
Yeah. So it was pretty. It was measured out all the bans you were doing.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean that definitely helps when you have a new system. Why not take the best advantage of it that you can?
Of course.
Yeah, and then last question from me at least. I know you got your opponent for next week, so just really much, how do you think you're going to plan against that opponent? Are you going to run the same thing composition-wise, or are you going to switch it up on them?
We might switch it up. There was a massive patch drop, actually. Like,
Yes. Yesterday,
Which
just
might
like
be some good-
when
I
I was
totally forgot about that.
I was mid quick play match when it happened. I'm like, oh, they've
Oh.
killed Malga, thank God. And so
honestly, I feel that.
yeah, hey, look, the like, have you seen that like meme, like the future, and it's just like society when like Malga is dead.
Thank
I'm of the
heavens.
opinion that every meta in 5v5 just has to coalesce back to Malga.
Yeah, now hopefully not. I'm hoping.
Yes, absolutely. But you're feeling good about your matchup next week.
Honestly, yes. But it's always like somebody we don't really know. So it can be very surprising.
Okay, sounds like you're going to be doing some on-the-job training. Then last things last, was there anyone, while you're on the stream in front of all our lovely viewers, was there anyone that you wanted to give a special shout-out to?
The only thing I wanted to shout out was my org, if I may.
Yeah, go for it.
Valhalla Academy.
Valhalla Academy.
Mhm.
Is there a tagline for that, or is it just Valhalla Academy?
Usually VA, we call it. We have it in front of
Okay,
our name
then.
and stuff.
Wow. Strong work. Well, yeah, so, I mean, thank you so much, Spacey, for joining us. Phenomenal
Of course.
performance, phenomenal play today.
Thank you.
Really just a spectacular job all around. Congrats on the win, and we'll let you go celebrate with the rest of your team.
I will do. Bye-bye.
Well, there. And like the wind, he leaves. But no, yeah, Spacey sounded super lovely, super happy for that win. And, you know, what can you say at the end of that? It was, again, there's only so many ways you can dress it up before you just kind of assert that, yeah, VA Plague, they were the better team today. Happens. Just sometimes it goes that way, and you can't really have any two ways around it.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting to see what a number 2 seed could do against a number 6. But hey, Coconut's a victory. You definitely tried your best against a number 2 seed. I feel like this is going to be great VOD potential for you either way to capitalize up on those mistakes. But having a tough opponent is going to take so much learning curves. So maybe your next matchup is going to be a lot more harder, or it could be a lot more easier. Who's to say? It just depends upon the practice. But I feel like VA Cat Plague, though, Edgar, definitely practiced a lot more up in the scenarios against Coconuts.
Yeah, Coconut's a victory. It seems like you got to have your expectations and you got to keep them realistic, right? Are you going to win this season? Probably not. But you'd be happy with learning more and then maybe thinking, okay, what if we can get like a top 5 finish? Maybe even make a kind of rally, late into the season, because maybe top 4. I think that's something, looking at what they have, looking at their other results against other teams, I think that's very achievable for them. And that would be a great success. Like, okay, can't win them all, but we got top 4. Hell yeah. I think that's all that we have from us at the very least. But make sure to join us in just a few hours going over to North America, the region which doesn't exist, sorry. Silvok Lovers versus the EIG Reapers. Don't know a thing about these teams, but if we can see anything at least half as entertaining as what we've just seen, that should be some damn good viewing. What time is 9 Eastern, like, in real time?
That's actually a great question. I think my brain went blank there.
I'm going to assume it's in about, I want to say about like 3-4 hours. 1 a.m. UK, so 5 hours from now. So that'll happen when it happens, but that's in quite a while. So yeah, go off, have a snack, enjoy some time with your family, play some Overwatch, and then come back to the CGL stream in 5 hours because we're going to have even more Overwatch for you. Now, was there anything you wanted to say before we headed off?
No, absolutely not.
In that case, thank you so much. It's been a wonderful day. Thank you to Hippie and Orange working in the background to get this stream to you. Thank you, Nyal, for joining me today, being a wonderful co-commentator. And thank you all for watching. We'll see you in a few hours for North America. But for now, goodbye.